Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insane Layer 13, and it's time to get underway for the 6th overall season and 2nd in this game for XRL's X3 League here at the season opener at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas in the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to embark onto another season. It's been a very interesting history that X3 has had. I've been fortunate enough to be able to be here throughout most of the seasons at this point as we prepare to get underway. Second season in a game is normally a truncated short season. We're only looking at about 13 races this year, so it's going to be a very short run to the end of this championship season. The United States being the first race of the season will be a good way of kind of judging where everyone is. However, in a shortened race season, you have to be on your game all the time. You cannot afford to make a mistake and be like, oh, I can claw the points back over a span of a few races. You screw up in one or two critical events, you run the risk of totally missing out on an entire championship. 2 seasons ago, at the shortened season at the end of the last game, F1 2020, we saw XRL Whippy be able to walk off with the championship after winning 5 out of 6 races, including 4 in a row in the mid part of the season. Absolutely smashed the rest of the competition. Today, though, he's not here. He's obviously moved up to X2 and then afterwards retired. In fact, our top two in the points at the end of last season, Stone Shuffle and Shelby Alex Spark, they have both moved on, as has XRL Gusty. So now there is a new host of drivers here looking for the new title. But first up, Q1, 15 fastest at the end of the session will advance into the next round of qualifying. First driver out into the circuit, TAF Mr. Shark. And Schumacher SF7 will not advance. He is serving qualifying bans left over from last season. Oh, there we are. I didn't think you were gonna make it. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah, we're broadcasting. I don't know if you're gonna make it or not, but... Oh. Alright, sweet. See you then shortly, mate. Alright. Well, anyways, that was PZ French Fry Man, our co-broadcaster for today's event. So I initially thought he wasn't going to be able to join for today's race, but it does look like he will be able to be here. Meanwhile, as we turn our focus to the circuit, about half of our field has already come out onto the circuit right now. Everyone with the exception of XRL, Jigsaw, and JR Football are out there on soft rubber. Again, if you missed us when we were going over the dev or the realistic race yesterday, a possible benefit to running under medium tires on Q1 means that you have more sets of soft that you can utilize in Q2 or Q3 if you so choose. However, you need to be fast enough to move on, and that's a big thing. I talked with XRL Zola yesterday, but after the dev race, he said that the gaps in drivers slowest to fastest in X1, X2, and X3 are closer than they've ever been. In X1, the gap was only about 0.6 seconds from 1st to 20th. In X2, the gap was only about 0.8 seconds from 1st to 20th. In X3, it's down to 1.4 seconds. X3 has always been a little bit more spread out and a lot more chaos ends up deciding how things go than anything else, but still, that is far and beyond what we have ever seen before in this series. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to spin the lap on board with this man here, XL Jigsaw, right on board with him and AlphaTauri, see what a lap is like here at Circuit of the Americas. And that's a full lap on board with XRL Jigsaw on medium rubber, and he has set the fastest time thus far, 1:33.506 in this session. Jared Footballer, the other driver on medium tires, has set 35.353. So at the moment, at least Jigsaw's looking like he will make it into the next round on the mediums. It might be a little bit more up in the air for Jared Footballer. This is XRL Veloce right now, as he is currently navigating his way through Sector 3 at the moment in the Williams. Full 20-car grid for today's race. We already know that Schumacher is not going to advance due to this qualifying ban. The question is going to be what 4 drivers will also not advance. Coming out of the final corner, and Veloce sadly invalidates, so he's going to have to hope that there's enough fuel in the car to go again. Now, he was able to back off a little bit and get a little bit of ERS charge back, but still, that's one of the reasons why you sometimes want to have more fuel, just in case you make a mistake. You're not burning 3.5 minutes worth of time. Well, not 3.5, you're not burning 4.5 minutes worth of time. You may only be losing just 1 lap instead. Now, there's a counterpoint to that. You knock off the best of the tires, you run the risk of having a bad following lap. There is an incident that's happened there in Sector 3's start, but looks like JR Football has already gotten away. My guess is that he's on a cooldown lap, or was attempting a cooldown lap, and backed off. Now we're going to see him go again. Again, his fastest lap thus far, 35, is one of only 2 drivers in the 35 range right now. He is on medium rubber, trying to cheat his way into the next round. There is a Alfa Romeo that has apparently had an incident in Sector 1. And Footballer here is going to come, and we see Fratters goes by Gusty. Gusty very low on fuel right now. But he is being underway at this point. Mantic Meerkat in the McLaren has just crossed the line to 33.039, so he now goes to the top of the timesheets. Very nice job on his part. Here comes XRO Veloce through the last 2 corners, low on fuel. As he navigates the last corner, as long as he keeps it clean, which he does, he'll set a time of 1:32.267. That's faster than the rest of the field by a full 8/10. So Veloce going right to the top early on here in Q1. SFR Shoe has now begun his lap. There's also XRL Snake and Plastic Glove, both in the middle of laps as they're navigating their way through the S's. And Plastic Glove spins right in front of the McLaren. He's just barely backs off the racing line. He should be able to get going sooner rather than later. But for Plastic Glove, it's going to be a little bit of a frustration. Now we see an Alpine sneak by, and with that clean track, now Plastic Glove will get underway. So XRL Snake, at the end of Sector 2, he sets a 103.225 and now runs through the more tighter first bit of Sector 3. Very tight, very technical. As just wide and flat enough, there's almost 2 very distinct racing lines through it. And then you come running down into 16, 17, and 18. Basically stay full throttle in these cars all the way through it. Then you jump onto the brakes briefly. Turn 19, you have to slow down on. It's a single car width in these cars with proper Formula 1 track limits. Navigate turn 20. Snake comes out of 20, comes across the start-finish line, 133.857, that's 6th fastest thus far today. SFR Shoe in the Alpine crosses of 33.324, that's good enough for 4th at the moment. So, 14 drivers have set times, now 15. Plastic Glove finally crosses with a 2:622. But again, that lap time was set with that spin he had earlier. He's obviously going to try and go faster. He obviously backed off as well after that spin. So there's a lot of time that he can potentially gain here. In Sector 1, he's already knocked the absolute best off the... and he invalidates in turn 3, just going into the S's. Not looking great for him. Dave Ewart in the Haas has now begun his lap, and Ocean Lion, along with Constant Jet, will both be beginning laps themselves. Also, Call Boy has gone back out. He wants to go for another shot at it. XRL Snake, SFR Shoe, and Boothie 116 are all out on circuit. Boothie, one of the best qualifiers in XRL, currently on a preparedness lap by the looks of it. He's got his ERS fully built up. He's good on fuel for the moment. He will pull aside to let a Mercedes sneak on by. And it will be clean track pretty much ahead for Boothie. He's just 2 thousandths out from breaking into the 32s. And he's going to come into the pits instead. Okay, I thought he was prepared to go out for another lap, but apparently not. Constant Jet, meanwhile, in the middle of the flyer. 25.678 at the end of Sector 1, which is in the middle of the S's. Ocean Line has invalidated his lap. Dave Ewart now coming to the end of the back straightaway. And at the end of Sector 2, 103.598 in the Haas. His teammate Collie Boy is set at 34.4. Right now, the way it looks, if you're in the 33s, you'll be good. If you're in the 34s or 35s, it'll be a little bit iffier. Into the final corner for Dave Ewart. 31, 32, 33 at the line, so 34.118. That rounds him out into 11th exactly. Constant Jet, he has moved by Ocean Lion, and now it's clean track ahead of him as he navigates these last 5 corners. Full throttle, 16, 17, 18. Tosses it into 19. Very briefly hard on the brakes just to keep it within track limits. Run down to 20, where you throw it down all the way until about 2nd gear before accelerating out of it. And Constant Jet, 134.358, that's good enough for 13th. So JR Footballer, who set his lap initially on medium tires, comes into the pits. He tried going again on mediums. He's actually gone 4 straight laps on the medium tires, and he has improved up to a 34.944, but it's just not holding pace with the soft tire runners. He is falling off, and he will likely have to consider throwing on softs if he wants a serious chance to advance forward. Ocean Lion in the middle of another lap attempt right now. 25.414 at the end of Sector 1. That is Constant Jet, who's on the track, and he invalidates through the S's again. XRO Flavor has yet to make a run out of pit at the track as he is now coming out of pit lane. 17 drivers have set times. Footballer on the bubble with Ocean Lion, Flavor, Plastic Glove, who is on an outlap, and Fratters all trying to bump him out. Fratters is in the Mercedes, just crossed the exit of turn 1. Cutting through. Now out of the S's. Downhill, fast corner, and then you throw it into a tight hairpin, bring it all the way down to 2nd gear. Exit wide if possible. A little bit of sliding out of the back of that Mercedes, but Friars is back underway. Best time thus far for Friars has been a 35.096. Will he improve on this lap? Comes now to the exit of the back straightaway. On the run across the end, that is 103.947. He's actually down on time. It's not looking great for him right now. Less than 5 minutes left in Q1. Riders trying to find a little bit of extra time to squeeze GR Footballer out. Ocean Lion has come back into the pits. XR Flavor still on his outlap right now. Fratters now squeezes Footballer out. He finds a little bit of time in the final sector, jumps up to a 34.920. So Fratters now on the bubble. Plastic Glove in the middle of the lap right now. He's gone faster in Sector 1 this time than he did prior. And he had his spin in Sector 2, so obviously this time around for Sector 2 he's going to be way faster than he was before. XRL Flavor has also begun his lap as he has navigating through the S's now as well. 25.502 for Flavor at the end of Sector 1. But the focus right now is on Plastic. He has already set time, but a 2-minute time is not, practical or actually competitive here. SFR Shu joins XRL Veloci as drivers who have retired in the pit lane. They both feel very confident with their times. Alright. Love really sliding the Aston Martin around on corner exit. 5 more corners to go. He really tosses it in under braking. Really wide on exit. Big twitch out of 19, but he keeps it straight. And out of the final corner, runs a little wide, still legal. It will be a 135.042. That's still not good enough. He's still behind Garrett Footballer in Fratter's time. Now the focus goes to Flavor as he is navigating the final 3 corners. A little bit of traffic ahead. That's the Mercedes of Fratters. As Fratters now brings it into the pit lane. All right, Flavor just has one more corner left. Ocean Line has also come onto the circuit, trying to get a lap in. Flavor sets a 34.525. That squeezes Fratters out now. Ocean Line in the middle of an outlap. JR Footballer, he has finally come out, and he is on the soft rubber, but he has just invalidated the lap he was in the middle of in the S's. Footballer more than likely does have the speed in that Williams to move faster, but does he have the ability to put together a nice consistent time? Because with just about 2.5 minutes left in the session, it's going to get very difficult for him. Collie Boy and Constant Jet have also gone ahead and gone back out, as Gusty now retires as he feels very confident in his time at the moment. Here comes Ocean Lion. Oh, and Plastic Love has had a spin. He went for another lap and spun out almost right afterwards. He's very low on fuel. He's not going to be able to get another lap in. I hate to say it, but for Plastic Love, it looks like he will be one of the first drivers eliminated in our first qualifying session of this truncated, shortened season. Now Herbago retires in the pit lane. Dark Rider has also retired. We're seeing TF, Mr. Shark, Constant Jet, and Fratters all coming back onto the circuit. Fratters is on the outside looking in. Plastic Love now in pit lane with 1 minute 35 seconds left. There's no way for him to get another lap in. Ocean Lion in the middle of a lap. He absolutely needs to get this one right, because if he makes a mistake, although he would have time to get around and set another lap, there'd be a risk that he may not have fuel to go full beans for that following lap. But he's kept it clean through the S's. He's the only driver thus far who has not yet set a time. There's also JR Footballer, but he's just invalidated this lap as well. And with 1 minute left, it's very possible that JR Footballer is not going to get another lap in. Ocean Lion, the wild card, might be able to squeeze Constant Jet out. Flavor has improved up to 13th now with a 34.012. Out of Sector 2 now, Ocean Lion 102.956. It's TAF Mr. Shark, who is about to start another flyer lap, as you see his little red dot coming out of turn 20 there. Our focus is on Ocean Lion. He has the ability to potentially upset the situation regarding Collie Boy and Constant Jet. Constant Jet on the bubble, Collie Boy in 14th. Ocean Lion crosses 6 fast at 33.498, so Jet's now out, and now it's the Haas of Collie Boy who's on the bubble. Collie crosses the line. He gets one more shot at this. Here comes Fratters. He will barely make it across the line in time. His teammate Snake is out there. Snake might be able to give Fratters a tow down the back straightaway, assuming that the Mercedes aren't so close to each other that Fratters is compromised aerodynamically through the S's. The time is up in the session. The lap everyone is in the middle of now will be the last one. Flavor improves this a little bit more, 34.012, but he is 14th right now and still at the risk of being squeezed out. Here comes Constant Jet to the line. He is down significantly on time at the Sector 2. Will he get some time back? He got some time back, but he's still down on time. Constant Jet is lapped in 16th and will not be able to advance. JR Footballer has relatively clear track behind him, but he runs the risk of running into the Mercedes ahead. Fratters has invalidated. Fratters will not get a chance to go faster, sadly. So it's just down to JR Footballer. He has gotten a lap on the soft tires, clean throughout the S's. Can he keep it clean and potentially squeeze Collie Boy out to get into Q2 at the last moment of the session? Very crowded racetrack ahead. JR Footballer here. He overtakes one of the Mercedes, but there's still another Alpine, that's Ocean Lion, and the Mercedes of Snake ahead of him. And that's Mr. Shark. Mr. Shark has had an accident there in Sector 3, and he's out. And Mr. Shark has crashed out in Sector 3. Thankfully, he's off of the racing line, but an instant, and that means that although he had a time to make it in, he will not because he doesn't have a car to bring to the next round. So for Garrett Footballer, can he squeeze past Costin Jet? Yes, he does! 33.692. He is in! And for TAF Mr. Shark, he is out in a last moment DNF and accident at the end of the session. We're going to try and get Mr. Shark in here, see what happened from his perspective. The frustration in the Alfa Romeo camp is now Gusty will basically be going into the next session with no teammate to help with a potential draft down the back straightaway. And there's your results. Veloce, Boothy, Mantic Meerkat, SFR Shoe, CKS Dark Rider, Ocean Lion, XRL Jigsaw on the mediums, Herbago 91, XRL Gusty, Garrett Footballer, XRL Snake, Dave Ewart, Wild Nissan GTR, and XRL Flavor all advance. The drivers that did not advance, Schumacher SS7 serving a qualifying ban, Plastic Love will not advance, neither will Fratters, Constantjet or Collie Boy, TF Shark put himself in a position to advance and then crashed out and took himself out of being able to start higher. So 14 drivers will advance into the second round of qualifying here at Circuit of the Americas. Alright, now we're prepared to get underway here. Tire strategy coming into play. This is the last season in this game, and that also means it is the last season where the tire strategies and the tires chosen in Q2 define what rubber you start the race on for the top 10 fastest at the end of the session. First drivers to get onto the circuit will be XRL Veloce, and he is already invalidated coming right out of pit lane. Again, it won't matter too much, it is just an outlap. But he will be joined right away by Herbago, Boothy116, and JR Footballer. Now we're seeing a little bit more motion down pit lane. That's SFR Shoe, and he is coming down pit lane along with the Red Bull. That is Wild Nissan GTR. So already just about half the field out into the circuit. Nissan along with Shoe and Herbago and XRL Gusty all going to try and set their first lap on the medium rubber. It's a relatively even split right now between medium and soft tire compounds at the moment. CKS Dark Rider in the Ferrari, he has also gotten onto the circuit. And now we see an AlphaTauri coming out. That is XRL Jigsaw, who set his time in the prior session on the medium tire. So he has basically an extra set of softs he can utilize and abuse either here in Q2 or in Q3 to go for the pole if he's fast enough right off the bat. As Herbago trapped for the moment behind Boothy, he's going to probably want to back off here to give the Aston Martin and Boothy a bit of a larger gap. Boothy, one of the best qualifiers in the series. Not the greatest at bringing home good race finishes, but Q3 appearances for him are very, very common. He often likes to take it down to the wire sometimes in Q2 about making it into Q3. And then he often pulls out top 3 rows starting positions in the race itself. Navigates the top of the hill at turn 1, and then it's downhill into turn 2. Full throttle in an F1 car, a little bit more off throttle than most other vehicles. Now sending it through the S's. 25.246 for Boothy at the end of Sector 1. Very nice and smooth. Now flying downhill. Coming into that hairpin right before the back straightaway. Everyone with the exception of Mantic Meerkat, Ocean Lion, Snake, and Dave Ewart are on track right now. Oh, and Wild Nissan's crashed out! And Wild Nissan in the Red Bull has completely gone off and destroyed his car, and he will not advance due to this accident. Gonna try and get Wild Nissan into the party real quickly, see if he'd be willing to share what happened. Frustration in the Red Bull camp, as now Flavor will have to carry that team on his back solo. First driver to cross the line, though, will be this man here, Veloce, and he'll set the time that everyone will be gunning for, 1:33.046. Now Herbago sets a 34.785. Herbago did that on the medium rubber, and now we see Garrett Footballer 33.112 on the softs. Now we see Shu cross line 34.305 on the mediums as well. Now the focus goes to CKS Dark Rider in the Ferrari. Medium tires, he'll be the 5th driver to cross the line.
Oh, it any good so far. 135.
135.509. Oh, there we are. Hey, you're finally here. Congratulations. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Alright.
This is game updates, but here we are now. So next to cross the line is, I believe, Jigsaw, posting a new fastest lap, 132.207.
Jigsaw seems to be the only driver who is very comfortably hanging out in the 32 range right now. Well, him and Veloce at the moment. Veloce hanging out 33.046 and easily go faster. Now we see Ocean Line. He's going to cross the line and begin a flying lap himself. Right now I'm looking at Boothie 116 because it looks like he's going to be the next driver to set a lap. One of the premier qualifiers in X3. Honestly, he doesn't look quite as fast here as I thought he would, and he's not laying on the ERS very hard. He may have made a mistake and has already backed off of it.
Next driver to cross the line will be Rubago in McLaren.
134.785. Alright, and coming in the party is Wild Nissan GTR. Nissan, go ahead, include your audio. Big accident in Q2 in the S's. What happened that took you out there?
I think it was just oversteer, to be fair.
Guest oversteer, that's it?
Yeah, I don't know what I can say. I just too much power around corner, and that's what caused me to spin.
Alright, well, rough to see you out. Looks like you're going to be starting in 14th position. Do you think you can convert that into potential points in today's race, though?
Just to see how it goes, to be fair. Probably, but, you know, it's only first round of the season.
True, but it's a shortened season, so you don't have a whole lot of time to make up for mistakes that are made.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Alright, well, I appreciate your aggressive neutrality on your outlook, though. So, we will neutrally look at you like you are just another driver in the field. Alright, thanks for being willing to jump in and speak with us, mate.
Cheers.
Alright, well, that's the word from Wild Nissan GTR. So he will not advance into the next round. As it stands right now, top 10 fastest advance. XR Augusti is on the bubble with Ocean Line on the outside looking in. But soft tires have a very significant advantage over single lap pace. No one in the medium tires have broken into the 133 range yet. And no one on the softs are slower than 133s at the moment. So we could still see at the very end a rush of drivers jumping on the softs at the end of the session.
Looking at Dave Ewart trying to post his first lap of Q2. What's going to look like? 6th fastest at 134.044.
And now Mantic Meerkat on the medium compounds in the McLaren jumps over both Dave Ewart and Flavor. So Meerkat with a 33.650 trying to secure a starting spot on medium rubber. Snake, now the only driver left on track who has not set a lap, well, outside of Nissan who crashed out. So he has crossed the line.
So
Now diving into the S's.
as of right now, as it stands, if you want to enter the top 10, you have to post a lap below 134.5.
And we're likely to see those times only drop and get faster and faster. I think by the end of the session, if you're not in the 133s, there's no way you make it into Q3.
I mean, as it stands right now at 34.5, if you really want to be secure, yeah, below 134s would be enough.
So the question then becomes, when you look at Dave Ewart, 134.044, that is low 34s. Will that be enough for him? As we're now seeing in pit lane, a lot of drivers making the swap from medium rubber onto soft compounds. Snake, one of the last drivers likely who will try and set a lap on the medium tires. Veteran in the series, Snake, very, very good back in F1 2019 and early on in F1 2020s, but took a little bit of a break, and when he came back, I don't want to say he had totally atrophied, but he definitely lost some of that edge. He spent most of this last bit trying to get some of that back, and there is Mantic Meerkat, who's extremely slow in Sector 3. I think he's almost out of fuel.
XRL just dips, and we'll probably go for softs.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tight, only 5 minutes left on the clock.
It takes you about 4.5 minutes to set an out lap, set a flying lap, and then come in. So you could definitely go out and get a lap in if you were to leave now. In fact, you could probably get multiple laps in. The big question mark is going to be Mantic Meerkat, 33.650. I think he might be in a position where he could be the only person in the top 10 on the medium tires. But that's assuming that not everyone below him makes a massive improvement going from medium to softs.
Well, only one in the medium, no. You have XRL Veloce in the low 33. Actually second on the grid, as it stands right now.
I thought Veloce set his onto the softs.
Oh, for me, on my side, he's on mediums.
Oh. Because I have it set to best right now. It says he set it on softs. Well, if he set it on mediums, he'll be in a good position for sure. But Veloce and Jigsaw both having retired. They're at 2 fastest right now in the session. They're basically guaranteed to move forward. Gusty and SFR Shoe backing way off in Sector 3. Dave Ewart right now in the middle of a lap, but it's a cooldown lap for him. In fact, everyone seems to be either on a cooldown or preparedness lap, as we now see Snake come out. And like you said, PZE, he's now on the soft tires, so. Alright, now Gusty crosses the line, and he's going to start trying to fly now.
He is right.
But there is Ocean Lion ahead of him. Oh, for Gusty, this will be frustrating because there's going to be traffic ahead. That's Ocean Lion, and Lion's nice enough to move out of the way at least. Dave aborted. Well, not aborted, but he came back into the pits. Snake is on an out lap. Gusty right now is the only man in the middle of a proper flyer. Him and SFR Shoe, that is.
Looking at the times right now, feels like if there's a big improvement to the back of the field, it's probably not over 6th place, because there is a half a second gap between 5th and 6th in Boothie and Mantic Meerkat, and that is at least the first big gap between the top drivers on the grid. The other big gap is between 1st and 2nd, as Jigsaw really hammered it down for 132.2. Almost 0.8 of a second ahead of Veloce, position 33.04.
There's also, it's not quite as big of a gap, but there's a 0.15 of a second gap between Mantic Meerkat and XL Flavor. Gusty splits that gap between Jigsaw and Veloce. Gusty with a 32.7, impressive time.
SFR
Alright, so next,
132.6.
Wow! That is a massive improvement, and now all of a sudden, if you're Mantic Meerkat, you set your time on the medium tires, and now I bet you're gonna start sweating. XRL Snake is gonna be the next driver to cross the line. He is currently on the back straightaway. Now there is Herbago farther up on the track, but Herbago is just on an out lap. Snake was on medium tires earlier. Aboard decided to come in and throw on some softs because he figured that the mediums just were not fast enough. If Snake sets a good time on these softs and then we see anyone else improving, we could likely see Meerkat getting squeezed out. It's a respectable time on the mediums, by far the fastest, but it may not be enough. And with less than 90 seconds left for Meerkat, he's kind of made his bed. There's no time for him to get out on track and set another lap.
So Snake has to strike hard on this one and only lap of Q2 at the final
Well, he
corner.
might get another
What
lap after this if
What
he
it's going
wants.
to look like, it's going to be a 131.
33.1, that moves him up into 8th. So now XR Flavor is on the bubble. Flavor's already responded. He's out on track right now in the back straightaway. I don't know how much improvement Flavor can make because he made his fastest lap on the soft tires earlier. All right, here comes Ocean Lion, CKS Dark Rider, both of them coming to the line. They set their laps initially on mediums, now on softs. What kind of improvement are we looking at for the Alpine?
Ryder was 4 tenths of a second faster than his fastest lap. Decent enough for 9th place.
Ocean Lion jumped up to 10th and was squeezed out to 11th. Dark Rider up to 9th. Now Mantic Meerkat is on the bubble. Ocean Lion has another lap he could potentially make. Here comes Herbago as well as he is navigating his way.
6 tenths
Herbago
up.
is up by 6 tenths just at the end of Sector 2 alone.
6 tenths.
I think for Meerkat it's going to be over. I think his teammate's going to squeeze him out here.
It's going to be real tight.
Herbago also low on fuel, and the clock has come to an end for Q2. He cannot afford to invalidate in this last corner.
Last corner, what's gonna look like? 133.
He's in.
He's in.
And now Dark Rider goes on the bubble, but Dark Rider's already up on time this lap compared to his last one.
He is up by a 10th.
Can he maintain it? Coming out of Sector 2.
Real smooth entering Sector 2. But he's up still.
He's still up by a 10th.
I believe he improved like
Ocean Lion's
5,000
invalidated
seconds.
his lap, so Lion's not going to be able to go forward. Flavor is up by over a quarter at the end of Sector 1. At the end of Sector 2, Flavor has lost a bit of time. He is still up by about a 10th, but that's not going to be enough to get Flavor in there. I think right now it's just a matter of can Dark Rider maintain this time. If he does, he'll stay ahead of Flavor and stay in the top 10.
Ooh, doesn't look too good.
Oh,
the squeeze. It's over.
yeah, it's over for him. He's not going to be able to improve, but Flavor's invalidated, so it doesn't matter. Dark Rider's still in there regardless.
And
in the end, no one will advance on medium rubber. The speed gap between the two is just that incredibly different.
Which really is a shame because, I mean, starting on mediums do give you a certain advantage if you're willing to go on a long strategy. But as it stands right now, Veloce is the only one in Q1, and we'll start the race on mediums.
Again, my game says that he's on softs. I'm not saying you're wrong. We'll figure it out exactly when we get green, but it's weird because it says that he's on softs for me. We'll figure out who's right when we get to the race itself. That's weird.
You can, you guys in the chat can place your bets.
Alright, but the drivers that will now advance, Nissan crashed out, Flavor just not fast enough, so no Q3 appearance for the Red Bull drivers. Ocean Lion did not advance, neither did Mantic Meerkat. Meerkat just committed to the medium tires. I think in the McLaren camp they just wanted to start on mediums more than anything else, and they think that starting 11th with fresher rubber, with fresher medium tires is better off than starting on worn softs near the front. So, bold strategy, let's see how it plays out. Meerkat in the chat saying curses and that he wish he did a extra lap. I don't know what we're waiting on right now to get on to the next session for. Oh, waiting on Fratters, apparently. Who was eliminated in the first round of qualifying. One of 6 drivers knocked out in the first round of qualifying. So, Williams gets both of their cars into the final round, and I think they're the only team to get both of their cars into the final round. There's only one Ferrari, only one McLaren, only one Mercedes, only one Aston, only a single Haas, only a single Alfa, only a single Alpine, and only a single AlphaTauri. So, JR Footballer and Veloce may have a small advantage because they could be looking at being able to give each other a bit of a tow down the back straight if they so choose to. Now, there's only going to be 12 minutes in this final shootout, but again, if one driver is willing to potentially sacrifice a lap or two to help his teammate out, we could see some shenanigans.
Have we seen both of these guys help each other in the past? Because I remember last season having both Ferraris helping each other. That was blatant, but
yeah.
I really don't know about for this season, honestly.
Yeah. Well, this season, obviously, things are different. The top 3 drivers in the points from last year have moved up. So, defending champion Shelby Sparky's moved up to X2, as has Stone Shuffle and XRL Gusty. Well, I'm sorry, not Gusty. Gusty is still here. Never mind. But Stone Shuffle and Shelby Spark both moved up. I don't know what it's going to look like in the Mercedes camp, but I know in the Ferrari camp, I got to talk to both CKS Dark Rider and Schumacher SF7. They're saying that they're planning on doing the same thing they did last season, but only this time now it's going to be Schumacher SF7 who will be the number 1 driver in that team. So, just waiting right now to get going, but for whatever reason, we're waiting on one person to actually press the button to get us moving to the next round of qualifying. Alright, well, I will say this, looking at the times right now, top 8 all within a second of each other, but I think the big thing is Jigsaw, single lap pace, still nearly a half second faster than the next closest person, and that would be SFR Shu in the Alpine. But then you get past SFR Shu, everyone from 2nd to about 8th, all within about a half second of each other. I think it's very likely that we're going to see races kind of like what we did last season early on, where Jigsaw has this incredible pace, and the question is just going to be, will he be able to finish races or not?
I really wish for it to be the case, because, as I said right now, a real display of speed coming from Jigsaw. As you mentioned, half a second faster than the next guy on the grid. So, if he managed to get on pole, we might be seeing Jigsaw completely dominate the race, and as it stands,
well, I will say this,
being first from flag to flag.
Well, the big thing is with that is that Jigsaw yesterday in the dev race started 15th in a 15-car, well, 14th in a 15-car grid. Within 2 laps, he was in 2nd place, took the lead after a short VSC, where the lead car got a drive-through penalty. Jigsaw was walking off, had a 9-second lead. The yellow flag came out just after he passed the pit lane entrance. Because of that, the entire field ended up gathering up behind him, and he had to restart near the back. He worked his way up almost through the entire grid, got caught up in someone's accident, fell to the back again, worked his way up the grid again to about 6 before spinning out with 3 to go, and still finished 8. We know that Jigsaw has some great pace around Coda. The matter is, can he just stay out of other people's hair and, stay out of an incident himself? Well, if we wait for this long, I think what's probably going on is Fratters in the Mercedes camp. They're trying to figure out how to get around Mercedes porpoising issues, and that's why they're intentionally making us wait all this extra time.
I mean, they have limited time in CFD, so... Oh, finally, 30 seconds.
Man, that took a while.
That took a while. Then it displayed 30 seconds to the end. 3 seconds in, Q3. And between all of that, a little bit of a debate, displayed apart by some lovely and awkward silences. And looks like the first driver to be out will be XR Snake. Or maybe his teammate? No, it's our Snake.
Nah, Snake's the only
that.
Mercedes here. Yeah, Fratter, the weird thing is, so like in the last games, you know, it only mattered the drivers who were in that qualifying session had to ready up to go to the next one. For whatever reason, in this game, that's not a thing anymore. Everyone from all the sessions needs to ready up. So even if you were eliminated in Q3, they can't go from Q2 into Q1 unless the Q3 guys readied up also. It's kind of a stupid thing. But yes, you are right. XL Snake, first driver out. And now there's a train of people being led by Davey Ward coming out as well.
And that's 6 driver on there, going out the pits.
Yeah, Jigsaw just waiting a bit for some of the others to get out on circuit so they'll have some cleaner space. But I'm right on board with Herbago, for instance, and he's in the back of this little train. He's going to have to figure out some time to back out. But if he backs off too much, obviously that means that the Ferrari of Dark Rider will end up catching him. It's just they've all come out at the same time, and they're all going to kind of be tripping over each other. For Snake, frankly, and to a lesser extent Dave Ewart, this is basically the perfect scenario for them. They're going to have great clean track ahead. Boothie and JR Footballer, both still in pit lane, have not yet made an attempt to get out onto the circuit.
Having the same advantages as Snake and Dave Ewart, mentioning clean air, you could probably count in, I believe it's SFR Shoe and Jigsaw. It's way back in the field. We'll probably have some clean air because of the distance in between themselves.
Also, another driver with a great clean air advantage will be JR Footballer, as he has finally come out of the pit lane, and there's literally no one else in his sector right now. And he's around! And he's around in the S's! He spins it!
And almost
doesn't hit anything, at least.
Almost binned it. Almost.
Alright. Well, still, he has a large gap between himself and Snake, who is now on his flyer lap. 9 cars out onto the circuit as they're clicking by the start-finish line to start their flyers.
Sector
out
1
of Sector
for
1 for
Snake.
Snake.
25-3-2-3.
Very nearly invalidated there at the last corner of the S's. Now he comes downhill, rushes into the hairpin, throws it down to second gear, opens the throttle back up, pops open the DRS down the back straightaway. And at this rate, it looks like Snake will set the time that everyone else will be pegged off of. And Gusty has made a mistake and invalidated in the S's. So now he's just trying to move. He moved aside briefly to let Herbago go. 102.603 for Snake at the end of Sector 2. As he comes out of 15. 5 more corners left now. Boothie has also finally come out onto the circuit. So he's in the middle of an out lap also.
Out of the last turn. Puts the power down gently, and that's a 132.950.
Very competent time in the Mercedes. Now here comes the Haas. With Dave Ewart at the wheel, they come out of the final corner and across the line. It'll be a 133.797.
That's 8 turns
now
down.
Veloce
Below the 132.
31.951, and now we see Herbago 32.956, but Veloce a full, well, almost a full second. He's 999 thousandths ahead of the next fastest driver right now. Incredible.
And Dark Rider posting a 33.974, and someone else is going up. It's SFR Shoe 32.4.
Jigsaw invalidated his first lap, so he's going to have to try again now. Jigsaw, one of the drivers we're anticipating, could potentially walk out here with the pole position, considering the incredible times he set in Q1 and Q2. Boothie is now across the line, so he is now beginning his flyer. JR Footballer 102.599 at the end of Sector 2. He just has 5 more corners left. Full throttle through 16, 17, and 18. Then hard, fast on the brakes, toss the car sideways almost into 19, barely keep it within the legal limits, then toss it down to turn 20, throw it down to second gear, power down, out of 20, footballer set the time 133.201. Gusty's invalidated another lap, so now the focus goes to Jigsaw.
Really have to be careful about invalidating your lap time. Mostly in Q3, because you only have 12 minutes and a lap around here being between 130 and 135. You don't have that much of a window to make mistakes. Really expecting a good lap from Jigsaw as he was fighting ahead with Veloce.
He's aborted. He was on track for a decent lap and he's aborted. So I guess now that means that the focus goes to Boothie. He will be the 8th driver to set a time in this session.
Since it's 19. 20. And it's going to be a 132.992, enough for 5th. Your top 5 is actually below 133s.
So 8 of our 10 drivers have set times at this point. Gusty invalidated both attempts. Jigsaw invalidated his first attempt. And while on the following lap, he looked like he had a great run going, he decided to brand into the pits. I have to wonder if maybe he realized he had so little fuel that he was going to run out completely on the cooldown lap. Well, at this point, Boothie and JR Footballer are the only guys out on track, and Footballer is on a cooldown. Well, now we see the Haas of Dave Ewart coming out, but Footballer is on a cooldown lap. And Boothie also on a cooldown lap at this point as well, I imagine. Yeah, Boothie's already down 5 seconds, so no one at the moment in the middle of the lap flyer. Here comes Gusty out of the pit lanes.
Gusty's coming out again. Really expecting Dark Rider to actually go out again, because he is within the 134s, but if you really want to have a shot at being higher, I would suggest to go out.
Only 4 cars on the circuit right now. Dave pulling down really slow down the back straightaway. Obviously, I think they really underfueled that Haas. And he's trying to just save every bit that he can. Boothie's crossing the line, so he's going for another lap. This time he's actually pushing it. So he did a flyer, then a cooldown. Now he's going for another flyer. And I don't see a fuel light flashing, so he should have enough to make this one work. Now he's put some good wear on this set of tires, but he seems to be confident that he can go faster on the same set.
You are letting Gusty by.
Now Boothie's just backed off again now in the S's, so I don't know what's going on there. Footballer now pushing, and now we see CK as Dark Rider coming back out onto the circuit. Gusty now crosses the line to start his lap, as does Dave Ewart, and now we're seeing Jigsaw coming down out of pit lane. He'll be right in between the duo of Gusty and Dave. Through Sector 3 for Footballer. This will be his last attempt. The fuel light's flashing pretty aggressively on that Williams right now. Honestly, this lap doesn't look nearly as fast as it could be. I think he may abort it to come in.
I believe that is probably 4th lap. Yeah, he is aborting it. And he is running on, I believe, 3 or 4 laps. Old tires.
Alright, well here comes Gusty to the line now. He'll finally get a lap in after invalidating his first 2 attempts. At the line, Dave Ewart's had an incident, has spun in turn 19 in the middle of his flyer.
Ouch. Well, in a sense, if I believe what I saw on the ticker, he was 6th down on his fastest lap.
Well, he'll get one more shot at this. There's 1 minute and 27 seconds left. So at this point, if you're not already in the middle of a lap, or if you're not already on track, you're not going to be able to do anything. And here's the thing, for drivers like Snake and JR Footballer, who are both in the pits, they're not going to get another shot at this. Oh, and Dave's around again, this time through turn 3. And with that spin, that's going to pretty much invalidate this lap as well. And there's not enough time for him to get back around. So I think Dave is now locked into that 33.797 time.
This will look like either a 9th place or a 10th spot on the grid, as CK's Dogcart is actually again on the flyer. Much faster than before, 7/10 up.
JR Footballer retires in the pit lane. Here comes Dark Rider out of the final corner now.
This is looking good.
32.767, that's good enough for 4th.
A full second up his own time. As
Veloce is up by 94 thousandths at the end of Sector 1 also, so Veloce looking to extend his time gap over the rest of the field. Jigsaw coming to the line now as well. Gusty does improve, but not by enough to move him up the grid.
Oh, this is looking real good for Jigsaw. 2nd place.
32.088, 2nd. Veloce still in the 31s. Time's up, over, plow. Here comes the Haas of Dave Ewart, but like we said, he had that spin, so we know he's not going to go faster. The real priority of focus goes to XRL Veloce, coming down to the last 2 corners.
Sends it to 19. What else? Like, this is looking really good. He's going to improve. 131.54.
Wow! Herbago next.
Second up on his own time.
Herbago jumps up to 4th, 32.514.
And who is going to be the next one to cross the line? I believe it's going to be CK's Darker. He is 2/10 down on his own time, but still trying. Oh, on the power early.
He'll be followed by Boothie right afterwards.
Not enough to improve.
Boothie aborts his attempt. Shu out of the final corner, runs really wide XT20. That will cost him some valuable time. He does improve though a bit,
but not enough.
32.287. Jigsaw down on time. I don't think Jigsaw is going to be able to make it. I don't even know if Jigsaw can break the 32 barrier. It seems like Veloci is kind of in a zip code of his own right now when it comes to single lap pace.
And I believe Gusty has... Yeah, Gusty is down on fuel, so...
So for all intents and purposes, that's it. Session is over, and Veloce with an incredible lap, 31.554. That's basically a full half second faster than the next closest person.
This is not only what I call extending your lead, but mostly asserting your dominance. Because you don't see gap this big even in for the real F1. Gusty crosses the line, and that's the end of the session. Your pole sitter, XRL Veloci.
So, top 10. Veloci, Jigsaw, front row. Shu and Herbago, row 2. Boothie and Dark Rider in row 3. Snake and Gusty, row 4. JR Footballer and Dave Ewart, row 5. We should be going green in about 5 to 6 minutes for the race itself. But Veloci gets the coveted first point of the season for taking home pole This could get very interesting going forward, to say the least.
I mean, with this good of pace, I really expect the man to absolutely clear the competition in lap 1.
So now we just stand by until we get underway for the race itself. Yeah, normally this would be the point that I'd go over the point standings and stuff like that, but considering this is literally the very first race of the season, really can't even do that.
I would point out it's an interesting choice to have the Circuit of the Americas as the season opener.
Well, grid is well, the shortened season, because the first season is run to emulate the real life F1 season, full length. Second season is usually shorter, about 13 to 16 races. The field across all 4 tiers, Dev, X1, X2, X3, all vote on the tracks they most want to see. And then it gets randomly shuffled for that entire order, with the exception of Brazil. Brazil has always made the finale in the shorter, truncated season.
I mean, I will say fair enough. I mean, Coda is a decent track in itself. I mean, a fully dedicated racetrack, lots of elevation, a couple of specific turns that really make the track stand out in a sense.
Yeah. I know that Monaco was not allowed because there is a glitch in this game where they no longer throw yellow flags at all at Monaco. So Monaco was just completely out. And then also Russia was initially voted in, but then all the real life stuff happened and something like 20 different drivers all said they don't want to run Russia anymore. So they took Russia off and swapped that with Portimao.
Fair enough as well.
I'm glad. Even despite what's going on in real life, Russia is the Sochi GP is unironically like probably my least favorite track in this game to watch races on.
It is for most of the Formula 1 fan community. I mean,
well, a lot of the drivers here really like it because it's just really simple. As long as you have some TCS on, it's almost a no-brain track, so everyone thinks that they're gods at it.
I mean, looking above that. I mean, first year I knew Russia was on the Formula 1 calendar, I was a little bit excited because, I mean, it's a big country. Why don't we go there? And then, yeah. Kinda dull racing, turn into turn.
Just mostly just a bunch of 90-degree corners.
Especially Sector 3.
Yeah, I hate Sector 3 so much there. Alright, looking real quickly at the tire compounds that everyone is choosing to start on, this is where things get interesting. Most of the field choosing to start on softs with a few exceptions. 19th place, Plastic Love, he's choosing to start on mediums. 15th place, TF Mr. Shark, he wants to start the race on hard tire compound, so a very interesting strategy from him. XL Flavor in 13th, he wants to start on medium tires as well, and then you were right by the looks of it, Veloce did qualify into the final session on medium rubber, so he's not only going to be on pole, he's going to be on medium tires, might have a small advantage over the rest of the field when it comes to strategy, although he won't necessarily have the initial right off the line advantage in pace. So, very interesting scenario. Well, now as I say that, Mr. Shark has now swapped back over to the medium, so I guess that takes away some of that interest. Per usual, when we get to the green flag, I'm going to focus on the front. If you see anything in the back, go ahead, cut me off, interrupt me, do whatever, so.
Yes, sir. I mean, if the game actually loads out.
Well, I'm still in the standby, little looking at pit lane awkwardly view as well, so.
Yeah. That middle lane between real life and the back rooms, we love that.
Still waiting on the official word on going here. Not seeing anything in the Discord yet. There, but the clock is counting down. 24 seconds left. Full field, 20-car grid. Watch the Ferrari team, because just like last season, this season, it looks like they're going to try and pour everything into one of their drivers, winning the Drivers' Championship, and they want to go for a manufacturer's title as well. But there are a lot of new faces and a lot of drivers who now feel more comfortable with this game. Things could go in a lot of different interesting ways. At the front, though, it will be an interesting fight between Jigsaw and Veloce on two different tire compounds. As the lights are going, 4 lights, 5 lights. As lights out, away we go here at the Circuit of the Americas. Williams, AlphaTauri drag race down the straight, and the AlphaTauri easily pulls ahead. They're 4 wide from the back in the grid. I don't know how that's going to work out. Looks like they made it out work well enough, but Jigsaw has opened up a massive gap immediately over Veloce. Oh, there's a Haas that's backwards around the back of the field. That's Collie Boy, who has lost his entire front wing. There's other drivers around. Collie Boy's been involved in the incident. Extra Flavor has gone around as well. It's chaos in the back.
It looks like
Shu's out of the top 5 position. Shu has crashed out exiting the S's, and he is out. He's done.
Meanwhile, the last 3 drivers on the grid, Fratters, Blestisbaum, and Schumacher. Every single one of them.
Now Ocean Lion gets a penalty for a collision with Mantic Meerkat. Well, that was a messy start.
And especially Sector 1 in the S's. Turn 1 was relatively clean from my point of view at the back. On the TV pod of Schumacher SF7.
Well, we're under the virtual safety car at this point. This is good news for the likes of Collie Boy, who has lost that entire front wing. Him and probably several other drivers will be rushing into the pit lane to repair damage. For Jigsaw, though, great scenario. He has over a 1.5 second lead over Veloce in second now.
Really weird to see we're under VSC with this side of the back.
Alright, green flag underway. Boothy, Snake fighting for 4th position. Here comes Gusty. He makes it 3 wide under the braking. He goes to the inside. He backs out, still runs in the back of the Aston Martin.
Almost stalls it on the apex of 1. Backs the field behind him. As the Aston Martin and Mercedes are dueling ahead.
CKS Dark Rider closes right in behind Dave Ewart for 7th in the S's, but you're not really able to go side by side through here unless the other guy is just so badly offline. Dave Ewart twitches coming onto the back straight, as does Mantic Meerkat back there in the 11th spot. Of the drivers who did have to pit to repair damage, Collie Boy threw on medium tires, TF Mr. Shark threw on hard tires, XO Flavor threw on softs. Side by side, Nissan and Footballer, and the Red Bull is sideways into the side of the McLaren. They're able to get going again, but Nissan and Fratters both fall down the order a bit. Now Fratters leaves himself open to attack from Schumacher. Schumacher has lost part of his wing though, and he'll likely have to pit to repair that. So still a lot of contact going on. We're probably going to see at least 1 or 2 more drivers pitting. Oh, that's Boothie! One of your top qualifiers. Boothie has spun out and crashed. Fratter Flowers has had an incident as well, but Boothie has spun out coming out of 18, and he goes from being in the top 6 right down to 16th.
Oh,
and he's not the only one. Collie Boy has had a spin. There's so much stuff going on. Schumacher comes into the pits now. Meerkat overtakes JR Footballer in turn 1. Footballer makes a crossover, but is not fast enough putting the tower down. Meerkat now opens the gap on him.
We're starting to see a little bit of spread on the field, as Meerkat really forces on the stars to keep up with CK's Dark Rider ahead. Oh.
Dark Rider closing down on Dave Ewart.
Meerkat having a bit of a wiggle. Is down to the threat from JR Footballer, looking inside, he backs out.
And now DRS comes into play. Oh! Plastic Glove spins coming onto the back straightaway. He was running in the 12th position, and now seems like he's having trouble getting the car pointing in the right direction. He finally gets going, but he'll fall all the way to 15th spot. JR Footballer overtaking Ocean Lion in the more technical slow bits in Sector 2. Ocean Lion, though, trying to fight back. Ocean Lion right now the only driver to have a time penalty issued against him. He's able to use DRS to keep some touch with JR Footballer, puts the front wing of that Alpine right underneath the rear wing of the Williams. Can't really do anything with him through the corner.
Oh, another penalty for Dave Ewart.
And Fratters comes into the pits now, looking like he needs to repair some sort of damage, I'm guessing. As Mantic Meerkat's trying to go by Dark Rider in the S's, as Dark Rider has been held up very badly by Dave Ewart right now.
Might have a three-way fight for 6th. I'm seeing Mantic Meerkat having a lot of trouble to put the power down on the exit of a couple of corners. So this McLaren
Here comes Dark Rider on Dave.
Both the DRS, Meerkat on the outside, almost plumbing in the gearbox of Dark Rider, taking evasive action.
Nose to tail, 6th through 8th. Now Meerkat dives to the inside and overtakes. Very smooth move, and now TIF Mr. Shark on the hard rubber has had a spin at the top of the S's. Here comes Fratters and Collie Boy, they'll just barely avoid him. Now Meerkat looking for a shot at Dave Ewart going down the front stretch. Yellow flag in Sector 2 despite the fact that no one's there. That's weird. Ooh, the Haas runs right into the back of Meerkat, but Meerkat is through. He's up in the 6th now. And now JR Footballer in 9th has caught the Ferrari of Dark Rider, who is in 8th. So lower half of the top 10 continues to put on some interesting shows right now. Meerkat now with a time penalty as he's trying to gap between himself and Dave Ewart and trying to run down on Gusty. At the front, though, Jigsaw has opened up a 4.5 plus second gap over Veloce in 2nd, and then it's about another 2 3/4 seconds till you get to Herbago in 3rd. Right now, it looks like it's a Jigsaw and Veloce kind of day, as Flavor has had a spin at the top of the S's now. Gusty has caught Snake for the 4th spot. Dives to the inside. Alfa Romeo versus Mercedes through turn 1. Mercedes struggles putting the power down. Interesting scenario as I'm looking through the entire grid right now. It seems like everyone is good on fuel with the exception of the Ferrari. CKS, Dark Rider, and Schumacher SF7, they both under fuel, but no one else is worried about their fuel strategy right now. Everyone seemed to fuel up well enough, despite the fact we've only had about half a lap under virtual safety car. So interesting fuel scenario right now to consider. Mantic Meerkat's charge up the field has seemingly stalled out a bit in the 6th spot. Schumacher now gets a time penalty back there in 14th. He is, though, after being involved in an incident early on that knocked off part of his front wing, he has swapped over to a hard tire. He's probably betting on some yellow later on in the event to throw on either a set of mediums or a set of softs to the end of this race.
Or probably just leapfrogging everyone. Like trying to push these hot tires pointing the other way.
Well, he could probably do that, but he's already 20 seconds behind everyone else on the grid, as now we see Dark Rider coming into the pits. He wants off his soft rubber. So first driver who started on the soft tires, that wasn't involved in an incident, is making his pit stop now. That would promote Wild Nissan up into 10th. I don't think mediums will last the full 21 laps here, though. Again, I have to wonder if they're betting on some yellow and jumping on to soft tires towards the end of the race in the Ferrari camp. It'd be a bold strategy. Meerkat has now caught the fight for 4th and 5th, so he continues his charge up to the grid. I thought he had stalled out, but I'm not sure if he kind of upped the gear a bit or if Snake and Gusty Fine kind of held themselves up. But Meerkat now has a shot to maybe get up to 4th position. Oh, 3 wide! And Boothy's crashed out there on the exit of turn 19. Yellow flag, and Meerkat just gets a penalty for a collision with Gusty in that incident. Davey Ward immediately took advantage of that, was able to come into the pits. But for Boothy, it may not be that easy. Well, Boothy's now finally got his car off track, so pit road is open. Everyone from 14th on back, they so choose. I think it could be considered one. Veloce can go a lot longer on this set of mediums. Everyone else, they'll have to come in and probably put on a different set of tires. Ideally, at this point, you go much longer, and the softs are going to die off about 1 or 2 laps in to the next stint. So, yeah, I think for Veloce, this is great. He can afford to just kind of stay out. All right, and coming into the party right now is Boothy116. Boothy, go ahead, include your audio. Accident coming out of turn 19. What happened?
Bleeds like a tube. And ended up in the barrier.
Alright. Rough ending to your race. Do you think you can bounce back next week, though?
Yeah. Hopefully.
Well, thanks for being willing to jump in and talk with us, mate. Shame to see you out like this.
Yeah. Love each other.
Alright, well, right now, it seems like, as we turn our focus back onto the grid, it seems like the entire top 10 have all elected to pit Dave Ewart, who had just swapped tires before the yellow flag came out, or just as the yellow flag came out, will stay out, and it looks like he's going to pick up a few positions in the process. Interestingly enough, though, you look at the drivers who did pit. Jigsaw now on medium. Well, Snake is on hard tires. So Snake not pitting to the end. Yeah. Yeah, at this point, you need to make them last about 18 race laps or so. You could probably do it, but they'd be hurting real bad at that point. I think everyone, with the exception of Snake, will likely be looking at another stop. I think Extra Snake is going to be the only one who's really good to the end of this race. If we stay green from now to race in, I think Snake might walk out here with the victory. But if we have another yellow, I think Snake is screwed because he's on worse tires, and everyone else can go ahead, jump in, and throw on another set of softs to the end. Top 12 have all gathered up. Collie Boy still a ways back, so we're probably not going to go see the green flag until about lap 11, considering how spread out in the back of the grid is at the moment. I think outside, I think that Snake honestly probably is in the best scenario right now. Assuming we don't have another yellow, I think the fact that he's able to get way off of everyone else's strategy, kind of do his own thing, I think he's the biggest winner. But I will say also as well, Nissan has just elected to come back into the pits. They're taking off soft tires and throwing on a set of mediums. Now he's going to be trapped near the back of the grid, but it's an interesting strategy to say the least. I think the other guys who might be in a good spot will be potentially Plastic Glove and Fratters if they can pace and not end up in any incidents to the end of this race and we stay green. I think they may be in a position to kind of back into some points paying spots as well. But again, if we have more yellows though, I still think this race can go literally in any direction. Fratters 11 seconds out from the back of the grid, but once he catches the rear, we'll likely get word that we'll be going green on lap 11. Collie Boy has spun under the safety car and has dropped to 17th. I'm not a fan of it. I don't know. I think the Miami circuit is really stupid looking and will not race very good. Although modern day Liberty Media seems to think that just, putting DRS straights wherever is considered as good racing. I think the Vegas circuit's going to be really stupid also. And again, we're running the risk of losing Spa or Monaco for that. That's disgusting. Yeah, I would miss going to France. Yeah, I would miss going to France, but yeah, it's no good. Yeah, I'd rather have Magny cores. But even then, Magny cores also is just kind of like too small. Magny cores nowadays would be like Hungaroring. All right. All right, Jigsaw and Veloce instantly opened up a gap on the McLaren in third, but side by side is Dave, Ewart, and Snake. Hard versus soft tires is nothing that the Mercedes can even try to do. He goes right to 6th. Meerkat gets by JR Footballer as well for the 8th position. And Plastic Love spins in turn 1 all by himself. Veloce, Jigsaw at contact, and Veloce ahead on the softs now. No DRS, so for Veloce, he just wants to utilize the soft tires, open up as big of a gap on the AlphaTauri as possible. Meerkat now squeezes by Dark Rider for 7th. Shark on the outside, Nissan pulls out on the inside, doesn't want to make contact, so Shark for the moment holds position. Nissan now dives! Ooh, a little bit of contact! And Shark has run offline in the process, smears sideways into Collie Boy! And Collie spins and makes contact with Mr. Shark. They both come to a near stop in the process. Well, that was messy. And there is damage to both of their front wings, so they're both likely going to have to pit now to repair damage. As Meerkat gets by Snake in turn 1. So Snake on the hard tires, struggling right now, as everyone else is just walking by him. But if Snake can just kind of persevere until DRS comes in, the field is a bit more spread out, I think this still will end up as a positive windfall for him. Gusty closing in slowly on Herbago for that final podium position, and Dave Ewart's even closer to Gusty than Gusty is to Herbago right now. That would be interesting to see, to say the least. One thing's for sure, though, Herbago, while he's been fast and consistently third most of this race, he just does not have the level of pace that Veloce and Jigsaw have. Those two have just absolutely walked the rest of the field. Nissan overtakes his teammate XRL Flavor for 13th position farther back. And Dave has closed right in behind Gusty. At the same time, Gusty's closed right in on Herbago. I think that Gusty and Dave will have DRS on the McLaren, potentially. Biggest thing that Herbago wants is to be just fast enough in the S's that he maintains position, but also just slow enough that he causes a bunch of aero wake that causes Gusty and Dave Ewart to fall off the back of him through here, or to end up with a bunch of time penalties. Ooh, Jigsaw time penalty in the 2nd spot. That's not going to help him. Oh, and that's Meerkat! The other McLaren has spun at the top of the S's now. He's back underway, but he plummets all the way down to 13th, maybe even 14th position. So now the Ferrari Schumacher SF7 is promoted up into the points. Here comes Gusty with a big head of steam on Herbago. He looks to the inside, cannot get alongside in the braking zone though. Plastic Love and Fratters fighting back there for 15th and 16th, near the rear of the grid. But it looks like Fratters will be ahead in that battle for the moment because Plastic Love has had a spin. Gusty on Herbago, looks outside, looks inside, tries to make it side by side into one, can't make it stick. And Dave wants to see these two break it up sooner because the longer Dave stays in their aero wake, the worse and worse off his tires are going to be. Dark Rider in 6 now with a time penalty, and that's not going to help him. So Herbago now has to try and hold off Gusty again down the backstretch. Gusty leaning hard on ERS. He's got the DRS popped open. Dives to the inside. Under braking. Yeah, took some DRS assistance, but he did make it stick. But can Herbago fight back in the braking zone here? Dave slides out just a bit behind the McLaren, but keeps it together. Snake, farther back, is now in the middle of a little Ferrari sandwich as Dark Rider has been holding steady in the top 10, and Schumacher has worked his way from 20th to 8th, and now trying to see what he can do to get by Snake. Again, the hard tires on that Mercedes. He's willing to sacrifice some position and some track position and spots now with the anticipation that he'll be getting them back later as drivers have to pit a last time to get onto different rubber. Ooh, Schumacher really off, jumps over a curb into the air. He will recover the car, but will now fall back in the clutches as a JR footballer. Did not go very well in the S's for Schumacher. Now, thankfully, he was able to keep it clean and legal, so he didn't get any time penalties, but that car skidded over a curb, jumped in the air, and was totally offline, and now he's going to have to try again to run down Snake. Herbago, meanwhile, is fighting back against Gusty. He wants the podium position back. Easy overtake in the braking zone. Problem for Dave is that those tires are going to start burning off sooner rather than later, especially because he's been in the aero wake of these two cars for the last several laps. Alright, now Gusty has DRS on Herbago again, but he's not close enough to really make a good charge into turn 1 this time. Seems like these two have kind of been relegated to only being able to make their overtakes down the back straightaway at the moment. Farther back, Ocean Lion, JR Footballer fighting for 9th and 10th, while Nissan and Constant Jet fight for 11th and 12th. Meerkat is there, wanting to capitalize, but can't get alongside either of them by the time they get into the S's. He'll actually back off just a bit and then close in on those two as they navigate the exit of Sector 1. The McLaren seems to be faster than both of them. We know Meerkat's faster. He was in the top 10 earlier. He just ended up spinning out on his own right here at the top of the S's and fell way down the grid. Now he's just trying to recover positions that have been lost. Schumacher now by Snake, so Schumacher filters up into the 7th position. Jet filters by Wild Nissan using some DRS, so Nissan now in 12th, although he's fighting back, trying to go the long way around the AlphaTauri. Two Honda-powered cars. Nissan has the advantage over Jet. Meerkat still trying to find that way by both of them. He's by Constant Jet now on the inside. Jet fighting back on the outside. Gusty gets back by Herbago, going into turn 1 with some DRS assist. Dave is gradually falling farther and farther out, a factor in that battle. Snake now losing a position at JR Footballer. I mean, I think I'd rather be on softs. I know the last 2 or 3 laps you'd be absolutely struggling, but frankly, if you're on soft tires now, I think you want to wait until about lap 20 or 21 and throw on another set of softs then. Soft tires seem to die off once you get about 8 laps on them. Look at Gusty and Herbago still side by side at the end of the DRS zone. Right now, Gusty has position, Herbago on the inside, a little bit of contact. Alfa Romeo holds position. Nissan and Meerkat are still fighting there for 11th and 12th spot. Meerkat has it over Nissan for the moment. And now Dave Ewart makes his shot on Herbago, but can't make it stick side by side with him through 16. But Herbago has lost DRS from Gusty. Dave has it on Herbago. So this may be Dave's chance before his tires are completely worthless to make something happen. The only one on soft tires who doesn't seem to be struggling right now is Veloce because he's leading. He's got clean track. Collie Boy's out of it. Crash, safety car, and for everyone on the soft tires, this is perfect. So, and there we are. This actually probably means that everyone is going to throw on soft rubber, except for maybe Snake. And for Snake, this is horrible because now he's lost all that track position, and he's on the worst kind of tire compound. He has no choice but to pit, but now he's like, curses. I should have bet. Oh, and TAF Mr. Shark gets a time penalty for speeding under the safety car. But yeah, for Veloce, though, this is perfect because he's got a big lead. He'll go from one set of soft tires to another and can cruise on that to the end of this race. Now, I will say this. You could, I'm not saying it's the best idea, but you could throw on a set of mediums. You'll be initially slower than everyone on softs. But in the last lap of this race, you will have better tires than the rest of the field, than everyone who's on softs. Yeah, I think everyone's going to come into pit. I think no one is going to stay out. Unless maybe you're in the Ferrari camp and you're worried about double stacking. That might be the exception. Yeah, they're going to double stack in the Ferrari camp. This is not going to be good for Schumacher because he's going to be waiting quite a bit for them to finish up service on his teammate. But everyone from the top 11, top 12, all coming in. It looks like literally the entire field is coming in. Yeah, everyone has pitted. But yeah, no, you're right. Dave Ewart is on fresh medium, so Dave is betting that the softs will burn off enough that in the last lap and a half or so of this race, the mediums, which will be at ideal operating range, can give him a few extra positions. But everyone else in the field now on softs to the end. Yeah. And for the Ferrari camp, not great for them because Dark Rider will maintain his position, but Schumacher ends up losing 2 spots to Footballer and Snake due to them trying to do some double stacking shenanigans in the pits. So now it's just a matter of how long does it take for the entire grid to gather up. Flavor is a good 11 seconds off the back of the field right now, and farther up, Ocean Line still hasn't quite yet caught the back of the grid, although he will do that under braking here. I think we're probably not going to see the green flag until about lap 21 here at this rate. So it'll be an 8-lap sprint to the end. Just long enough, though, that if something went really wrong, we could see another yellow flag. As we look at the time penalties awarded thus far, Jigsaw in second and Gusty in third both have 3 seconds worth. Dave, you are in 5th, and CKS Dark Rider in 6th both have 3 seconds. Snake in 8th and Schumacher in 9th both have 6 seconds against them. Mantic Meerkat in 11th has 3 seconds. Constant Jet has 3 seconds. Fratters has 9 seconds. Plastic Love has 15 seconds. And TAF Mr. Shark has a drive-through penalty that he'll have to serve from the back of the grid. Meerkat, another stop. So he'll sacrifice a bunch of track position, but he'll be on soft tires that will be 1 lap younger than the rest of the field. Bold strategy. Let's see if that plays out. So this promotes. Ocean Lion is 10th, last of the points earning position. Wild Nissan is 11th. And Constant Jet is 12th. And we know Nissan and Constant Jet fought a lot last season just to bring home any points they possibly could. And it seems like that fight now continuing into this season as well. I think Dave's going for an interesting strategy. The big thing, though, is that with that time penalty, I really wouldn't factor a whole lot into it. If you had no time penalties at this point, yeah, it might not be a bad idea. But with time penalties, you're going to be struggling, losing ground, losing positions early on. And again, you have to try and make up not only the ground that you lose in the first 5 or 6 laps when everyone else's tires are better, but you also have to make up a time penalty. I don't think it's looking great for Dave. He might still be able to make it work, and I do think points are still on the table for him, but I don't think a top 5 finish or anything close to that is in the cards unless we get a really, really chaotic run to the end here. No, the word, safety car in this lap. Veloce. Indianapolis road course. Oh, they removed its certification in 21. They removed its grade 1 certification in 2021. But it could probably get back into it without too much of an issue. Alright, preparing to get underway as the pace car pulls off. Veloci and Jigsaw have been 1-2 pretty much this entire race. Now they will take the field to the green flag once more. Green out once again here. TF Mr. Shark serving his drive-through, immediately coming to the green flag. So ignore him, he's not actually gaining positions back there. Jigsaw not able to do anything to Veloce right away. In fact, the entire field stays mostly single file. Footballer gets a run on Dark Rider, and Snake is trying to capitalize as well. Dark Rider barely holds over Footballer as they go into the S's. Snake right behind Footballer, nose to tail, and Schumacher is back there. He wants to get back by these drivers. Nissan gets by Ocean Lion there for 10th. Snake right behind Footballer. He's in a perfect position to pull out and make a dive into the braking zone. Does he? He's there. He's on the inside, but can't keep it alongside the Williams. Meerkat, Plastic Love fighting for 14th spot. At the front, Jigsaw is only about 4/10 out from Veloce, but time penalties are working against him and are working in Veloce's favor right now. Veloce, fastest lap, 134. 34.060, so good job on his part. That's looking very good for the Williams team in the manufacturer fight as well. They're running 1st and 7th on track at the moment. Oh, Veloce now with a 3-second time penalty. He still has 3 seconds less than Jigsaw at least, but still, that means that he's starting to eat into that advantage a bit. Schumacher overtakes Snake without DRS down the back straightaway. So now Schumacher back up into 8th. He sets his focus on the Williams in 7th of JR Footballer. Oh, big exit! That's Dave Ewar! I was just about to say that he was doing a great job, but he has destroyed that car out of the final corner, and that's a full course safety car. And neither Haas will finish the race today.
Really disappointed for the American outfit.
We're probably not going to go green until about 3 laps to go, so with this happening, all the time penalties are really going to stack up hard. Drivers like Jigsaw, who have been out front most of the day, are now going to get, I'm going to say borderline unfairly, kicked down the grid simply because of people who haven't been able to run with others for most of the day, not had a chance to pick up time penalties, will end up leapfrogging them. The other question is anyone going to pit under this safety car or not? Veloce kind of tries to jank the field in, but no one else follows. Yeah, nobody is pitting except I take it back. Fratters will pit. So he's going to fall back to about 14th place or so, but he'll be on slightly fresher tires than everyone else.
I believe that would be much of a factor. Full axle tires, especially softs, there will be still for these 4 laps, they're probably going to get maybe 1 lap. At least which does not factor at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think everyone... No, I have to agree. I think you're right. I think, frankly, there's really no point in pitting unless you wanted to serve a 5-second penalty and get rid of that. And no one's had any 5-second penalties at this point in the event anyway. So, yeah, it's a bold strategy by Fratters, but it's not one I myself would really be going hard on. Looking at time penalties right now, Veloce in the lead has 3 seconds, Jigsaw in 2nd has 6, Gusty in 3rd has 3. CK as Dark Rider in 5th has 3, Schumacher as F7 in 7th has 6 seconds, Snake in 8th has 6 seconds, 11th is Constant Jet, he has 3 seconds, 12th is Plastic Glove with 18 seconds, 14th is Fratters with 9, TF Mr. Shark is 15th with 3, and Mantic Meerkat is 16th with 6 seconds at this point in the event. Also, Mantic Meerkat just about to catch the back of the field. I would hope that we go green this lap, but it looks like we're not going to get that chance, I guess. Even though the field is all gathered up. Yeah. Yeah, so another lap pretty much wasted under the safety car in this scenario. And yeah, for Fratters and Meerkat, who are on the fresh softs, it really just kind of further invalidates their choice to swap tires because they've given up track position and they're going to have even less time to exploit an even smaller advantage now. I don't know if Herbago's in the winning seat. I do think he may be in a good position to take second. But even... oh, and Meerkat just had a collision with Shark. But as I was going to say, I don't think Herbago's in a race-winning position unless he can get by Gusty or Veloce ends up with some time penalties. But I don't think that's going to happen. You spend so much time in the S's and then 16, 17, 18. They're all very downforce intensive areas. He's going to be dealing with so much aero weight, he will naturally fall off. I think him getting over Gusty and Jigsaw is pretty much a guarantee, but I think Veloce will be able to open up roughly a 3-second gap on Herbago in the 3-lap sprint to the finish. Also, DRS is only going to be available once for everyone. That's going to be down the back straightaway on the final lap. That's it. There's going to be no other DRS attempts. So every overtake we see is pretty much going to just basically be a matter of, hey, position yourself properly, be the better driver, or hope the guy ahead made a big stupid mistake. There's a word. Yeah, oh.
Do I flip before trying to guess whether or not we got it after another?
Nah, they won't throw another safety car usually in the last 3 laps of an event. I've never seen it happen, at least. No, I've never seen it happen in the game. Alright. Coming through 19. Veloce controls the pace. He automatically is starting to open up the gap. Now he shuts it back down on the run down to 20. Bunches Jigsaw behind him. Puts the power down. He's sideways. Did not get a great start. Here comes Jigsaw. Side by side for a lead. Jigsaw has it on Veloce. Well, I don't think anyone saw that, but Veloce screwed up putting the power down. He tried too hard to gain the field behind. Jigsaw now has the lead. He has to outrun 3 seconds worth of time penalties over Veloce. He's already stretched it out to about 4/10, but he needs to open it even farther. Veloce right behind him still. Gusty is there as well. Herbago's kind of falling off the lead group just a bit. Gusty right there behind Veloce. Veloce's already fallen a full second off of Jigsaw. Gusty charging down on Veloce down the straightaway. He's got the draft. Veloce has a bit of a draft off of Jigsaw, but not enough to really do anything. There's still a 1-second gap between first and second as they dive into the braking zone. Oh, contact! Schumacher and the Williams of Garrett Footballer get into it there in Sector 2. And that's Meerkat and Plastic Glove involved in this and farther back in the grid. Jigsaw has just set the fast lap 1:34.017. 2 laps to go now at the line. And the gap between first and second is now almost 1.5 seconds. If Jigsaw can keep this up, he might be able to outrun the 3-second gap, the 3-second penalty he has against Veloce. Wild Nissan now is closed in behind Snake. Schumacher time penalty, and in 7th, that's gonna hurt him. Schumacher might not even earn points just due to the amount of time penalties that are getting added up here. Down the back straightaway. Still 1.5 seconds roughly between Jigsaw and Veloce. Herbago might still win this If he can keep it within 3 seconds of Veloce, I think staying within 6 seconds of Jigsaw is not really a problem for him. If he can stay within 3 seconds of Veloce, Herbago might back into this win. Thing is, it seems like he's really struggling staying just within Gusty's draft right now. I think Veloce is still going to win this because Jigsaw's charged away from him, has kind of stalled out. He's not yet at a 3 second mark. I'm not saying it can't happen, but it's not looking as likely now. Jigsaw needs to add another full second to it if he wants to win this. And if he gets another time penalty for Jigsaw, it's over. Ooh, Veloce not good coming out of the S's. Still maintaining the gap just a bit under 2 seconds right now. This is it, the only DRS shot they're gonna get to the end here. Herbago has DRS on Gusty, but is 3/4 of a second out. He's not going to be able to get by Gussie, but I think he will be able to get close enough maybe to leapfrog Veloce to the end. Maybe. It will be close. Farther back, Footballer trying to get by Dark Rider for 5th. He looks to the inside, looks outside, can't make it stick. Farther back, Schumacher behind Snake can't get alongside him either. And no one else is in position to get alongside. The gap between first and second, 1.9. Jigsaw just cannot open up that extra second he needs. I think Veloce is still going to walk out of here with the win. To the flag, out of the final corner, Jigsaw first across the line. Veloce, though, jumps ahead of him. Gussie jumps down his time. Herbago does get it. He barely crossed it on time penalty countback. Herbago did get it in the end. Oh, wow, and for a lot of these drivers, a lot of crazy end results. Snake gets dropped back to 10th. Schumacher is knocked back out of the points. Flavor was running 13th, never even really touched the points main position. He walks out here in 9th. Dark Rider, who was top 5 most of the day, he finishes 7th. Footballer walks out here in 5th. This... yeah. And on penalty countback, Herbago steals a win despite really never racing with anybody all day long. Yeah, just staying away from everyone else seems to work relatively well a lot of the time. Trying to get Herbago in here, but I don't know if he's able or willing to join the party here. Alright, yeah, it doesn't seem like Herbago's willing to jump in, sadly, so kind of a rough for him, I guess. We will try to get Veloce and Jigsaw in to see if they have anything to say, but...
Oh, they surely will have something to say, yes. I believe both of them are trying to play my game.
Well, Jigsaw also... I will say this also, Jigsaw ends up with the fastest lap. That second to last lap he set ended up being by far the fastest of the race, so good job on his part there as well.
In the end, does matter.
All right, here we are. Jigsaw at least is going to come into the party. All right, Jigsaw, go ahead and include your audio. A podium finish, but you put on a heck of a drive to try and sneak a win at the very end there. Walk us through the race from your perspective.
Podium the first race of the season, that is a good start. The second stint, Veloce way too fast, couldn't catch him, he was gaining time, and then the safety car came out. And then the second safety car, he had something happened on the restart and I overtook him, but happy with, I feel like I should have had second at least. Time penalties messed me up there, really, but it's a podium, so not gonna complain.
All right, well, irregardless, you did walk out here with the podium finish. It's going to bode well for you, in theory at least, for your title bid this season. So,
yeah, hopefully. Next week, similar. Need to get some practice in, but let's see what we can do.
All right. Well, thanks for being willing to jump in and talk with us, mate. Shame it wasn't a win, because you definitely had a pace for a win or at least a second place, but time penalties and late race yellows go together like baking soda and vinegar.
Exactly. Time penalties aren't good with a late safety car, but we go again next week.
All right. Well, thanks for being willing to jump in. We'll talk to you later, mate. Have a good time.
No worries. I'll talk to you later on.
All right, and that will wrap up our broadcast here from Circuit of the Americas. Next week will be Imola, same times as normal, 5 p.m. Saturday. On this channel will be Dev, 8 p.m. UK time on Saturday will be the realistic race. 5 p.m. on this channel. Next week will be X3. On the main channel will be X1. And X2 will be next week at 8 p.m. Also in about an hour's time. Today will be the X2 race, also at USA. But until next time, I've been your host, Insane Leader 13. I've been joined by PZ Frenchman Man today. I want to say thank you very much for joining us, and farewell.